gathering. Thanks everyone for coming. I serve on the board of the DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church. I want to welcome everyone to our service this morning. And I want to welcome visitors especially to our open and inclusive community of faith. As Unitarian Universalists, we hold that there are many spiritual paths to truth and meaning, and we support one another as we explore those paths. I would like to especially welcome our guests and welcome again those who have visited us before. Visitors, it is the custom of our church to invite you to stand and give your name and where you are from if you feel comfortable doing so. Are there any visitors today who would like to introduce themselves? Welcome. So, welcome to everyone visiting today, and please join us after the service for coffee hour. We would love to get a chance to know you better. Our minister, Reverend Tom Capo, our congregational life coordinator, Mary Law, and all of our members are eager to meet you. I will be present after the service in Creeves Hall as well, and would be happy to speak with you. Our service can be heard outside the glass doors at the back of the sanctuary should anyone feel the need to leave the service for any reason, and there are chairs outside for your convenience. I have one additional exciting announcement today. The date is set for the 2018 Goods and Service Auction with the theme Give Peace a Chance. I'm kind of excited. I've got my outfit. I think Sarah and I already have a party planned. Are we doing that? We've got it. It's gonna be the best party. I'll be involved in the 5 Karens party. That'll be fabulous. If you turn to number 4 in your order of service, you will see the dates and the times. Make sure you mark your calendar. Tickets are not yet available, correct, Chris? But we just need you all to start getting excited. Make sure you mark your calendar. We expect you to be there. A good time is usually had by all. As we begin our service, please silence all electronic devices. Thank you. I love it. Kaya's got her phone out and she's working her calendar right now.
Each of us comes to the sacred space today to dip into the well that nourishes our hungry spirits. Each of us comes with our own cup of goodness to pour into the well. The chalice is a vessel, a bowl, a cup. We drink together. With this light we place in the vessel, we also place common hopes and our shared dreams, our mutual commitment to a world made whole. May we be strengthened in our bonds of love and peace.
lovely. Good morning. I am Reverend Tom Capo, and I am the minister here at DuPage Unitarian Universalist Church. And welcome all those who are watching on YouTube. I actually heard that somebody watched this morning's service on YouTube. That was great. There are probably other people out there. All life comes from water. Life started in the ocean, where it began to take many and amazing forms. Babies are cradled in water before they're born. Everything that lives needs water, from the smallest plants to the largest whales. From the beginning of history, humans have built their homes near water. Today, we celebrate water, which connects us to all life and nourishes all life. Today, you also will be invited to participate in a uniquely Unitarian Universalist ritual, the water communion. Now, this ritual began at a Unitarian Universalist women's retreat in the 1980s. At one point in the retreat, all the women were invited to bring their water that they brought from their homes or other places and pour it into a common bowl. And then they shared the meaning of that water with one another. In the years since, many Unitarian Universalist communities, including this one, have celebrated this ritual at the beginning of their church year. This ritual reminds us to reflect on the spiritual nourishment we gained from our experiences over the summer, whether we're on vacation or hunkered down at home, spending time with family or friends, walks in nature, or perhaps sitting under a full moon. We gather to embark upon our new church year together, and today we will share some of the spiritual nourishment we have received with one another. Now I invite you to stand in body or spirit, and let's sing together, I've Got Peace Like a River. It's hymn number 100, but the words will be projected, and we're going to sing 3 verses.
I have a story to share with you. It's a traditional story from India. There's a water bearer in India who had 2 large pots, and each pot hung on an end of a pole, which he carried across his neck. One of the pots had a crack in it, and while the other pot was perfect and always delivered a full portion of water at the end of the long walk from the stream up to the master's house, the cracked pot arrived only half full. For a full 2 years, this went on daily. with the bearer delivering only 1.5 pots full of water in his master's house. And of course, the perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments, perfect to the end for which it was made. But the poor, cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection and miserable that it was able to accomplish only half of what it had been made to do. So after 2 years of what it perceived to be a bitter failure, it spoke to the water bearer one day by the stream. It said, "I am ashamed of myself, and I want to apologize to you." And the bearer asked, "Why? What are you ashamed of?" And the pot replied, "For these past 2 years, I am able to deliver only half of my load, because this crack in my side causes water to leak out all the way back up to your master's house. Because of my flaws, you don't get full value for your efforts." The water bearer felt sorry for the old cracked pot, and in his compassion he said, "As we return to the master's house, I want you to notice the beautiful flowers along the path." And as they went up the hill, the old cracked pot took notice of the sun warming the beautiful wild flowers on the side of the path, and this cheered it somewhat. But at the end of the trail, it still felt bad because it had leaked out half of its load, and so again it apologized to the bearer for its failure. And the bearer said to the cracked pot, "Did you notice that there were flowers only on your side of the path, but not on the other pot's side? That's because I've always known about your flaw, and I took advantage of it. I planted flower seeds on your side of the path, and every day while we walk back from the stream, you've watered them. For 2 years, I've been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate my master's table. Without you being just the way you are, he would not have had this beauty to grace his home."
In 1986, when Bruce Hornsby released his breakout album, The Way It Is, Elton John commented that Bruce Hornsby had brought back acoustic piano to the mainstream contemporary scene. So, and if any of you have heard the music of Bruce, you know he's an amazing, amazing piano player. And if you've heard mine, it's not there. But I'm going to try to do it the best, and if it doesn't work out, it's Bruce's fault. The song came and went like the times that we spent hiding out from the rain under the carnival tent. Laughed and she'd smile, I would last for a while. You don't know what you've got till you lose it all again. Listen to the mandolin rain, listen to the music on the lake, listen to the heartbreak every time she runs away. Listen to the banjo wind, sad song drifting low. Listen to the tears roll down my face as she turns to go. Cool evening dance, listening to the bluegrass band takes a chill from the air until they play the last song. I'll do my time, oh, keeping you off my mind. But there's moments that I find I'm not feeling so strong. Listen to the mandolin rain, listen to the music on the lake. Listen to my heart break every time she runs away. Oh, listen to the banjo wind, a sad song drifting low. I listen to the tears roll down my face as she turns to go. Running down by the lakeshore, she did love the sound of a summer storm. Playing on the lake like a mandolin, now it's washing me away once again. Whoa, again. Steaming in, oh, watch the side we spin, and I think about it when I hear the whistle blow. I can't change my mind, oh, I knew all the time that she'd go. That's a choice I made long ago. Oh, listen to the mandolin rain, listen to the music on the lake. I listen to my heart break every time she runs away. Oh, listen to the banjo wind, sad song drifting low. Listen to the tears roll down my face as she turns to go. As she turns to go. Oh, oh. Listen to the mandolin rain. Listen to the tears roll down my face as she turns to go. Listen to the tears roll down my face as she turns to go. Oh, listen to the mandolin rain.
We bring our waters this morning, which have touched the north, the east, the south, and the west, have come from clouds above and many other places, such as our homes, our patios. We bring fresh water that have belonged in lakes and streams and reservoirs that nourishes us, quenches our thirst. In this water, there is new water formed in the atmosphere daily, and old water, water as old as earth, water from which life has evolved over the eons. The water is the source of all life. This is the stream of life from which all life flows. All people, all of us, are connected by this stream. It runs through our veins and arteries, courses through the stems and leaves of plants. It is a symbol of the cleansing power of forgiveness and the faithful promise of healing love. It is a symbol of the reality of the oneness that unites all humankind. Today, we have brought water to be pooled. The water will then be used in child dedications and other communal worship. And we will give back some of our communal water to the soil in our heart labyrinth to share some of our nourishment with Mother Earth. Let us offer our thanks for the gift of water and also for the web of life of which we are a part. Amen. May our separate waters join into one sacred stream as we add our lives into the river of living souls who live out love, work for justice, and hunger for peace, and who choose to be part of this beloved community. This water represents the waters that have joined in this congregation since its very beginning, April 10th, 1955. Now, this water has only been collected maybe in those past few years that I've been here, but let it represent all the waters, all the communities that have been part of this church since its inception. Now, many of you have brought water this morning, but if you either forgot or this is a new ceremony for you, you've never participated in, you're all welcome to participate. We have a pitcher of water here that you can use to be part of this ceremony. So you'll pour water into our communal fountain here. And then we're going to do something a little different. After you poured your water, you're invited to say to the community how you were nourished in an unexpected way this summer. Now, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to. You can just pour your water and then stand for a moment in silent reflection on how you were nourished this summer and then be seated. But you will have that time if you have something you would like to say to the community about how you were nourished this summer. And Steve is going to start, and then I will also to give you some example.
Each summer I collect monarch caterpillars, but I always have to wait until the middle of July because I have too much going on in June and the first part of July to take care of them. So the day I got back from summer camp, I went to the milkweeds in the back, and there was a dozen of them waiting for me to pick them.
This summer, Martha and I adopted a little puppy. He has some challenges, but he brings such energy and love and joy into our homes. His name is Emerson. He's a Chihuahua Papillon mix. He's now on marijuana, but that's okay. This is the first summer, and I can't tell you how long I've gotten on the floor to play in countless years. It's been just a joy. Please come forward.
That water represents water from my bird bath on my patio. That bird bath meant a lot to me this summer because I'm trying to keep moving and keep getting up and finding reasons to get out of bed. That bird bath attracted so many beautiful birds and squirrels And I gotta say, getting up to fill that bird bath was the best therapy I could have thought of.
I meet new friends.
This is water from the St. Lawrence River. I finally got up there to the land, to the area where my grandparents migrated from over 100 years ago. And because of the miracle of DNA testing, I met not four, but five new cousins who were just delightful and congenial, and we had a lovely time.
Also from the St. Lawrence River, same trip. I was glad to be able to not only find her cousins through DNA, but also to get into some archives up there because the town they had immigrated from was flooded when the seaway was built. And archival records were brought up out of the towns before they were flooded into archive places, and I was able to get into 3 of them. It was great joy.
My summer was filled with the joy of Wendy getting her PhD and the pure joy of watching 2 grandchildren grow.
I went on a most unusual trip this summer. I have a 78-year-old cousin, Ann, who I really don't know very well. She arranged for a trip back to Hungary, where we went to the ancestral home of our immigrant grandparents. And I spent 2 weeks with her. I'd never spent 2 weeks with her in my entire life. And now we talk almost weekly on the phone about something, and that's been very nourishing.
This water is from Decorah, Iowa, where the church sent me to Midwest Leadership School, and I was nurtured by that loving community of fellow UUs.
She was going to say her trips this summer with her grandparents. So our water is definitely nurturing of all the family time we had this summer.
This summer, oops, I'll pick it up. Easier than adjusting it. This summer, Martha Capo, Andrea Gustafson, and I went to an event called Pagan Spirit Gathering. We camped together for a week, and I underwent a croning rite, which is a great honor for me.
This water represents water from Naperville Central High School and Rice Pool in Wheaton, where I worked with the special education kids, and I was nourished in ways such as when I asked one of my kiddos what her favorite animal was, she said it was me.
This is water from Iowa and Arkansas and California and Wisconsin and St. Louis, Missouri. And I was nurtured in ways that were unexpected. I got to go on a lot of trips with both of my parents, and with little to no effort or money on my part. And being a young adult, that is really nurturing, and I really appreciated the time together.
I can do it. Okay, I'm scared of talking. That water's from my boyfriend's house, and he has taught me that not all men are scary. And that's really nourishing because it's taking me years to be able to have a boyfriend and not be terrified.
This water symbolizes the time I got to spend with my 2 daughters this summer, which ended yesterday with my oldest daughter getting married.
This water was from the time that I had a water gun fight with my friend Cooper, and it made a lot of friendly relationships with him.
I've been nourished this summer by this one whose music playing this summer has really started to grow into something incredibly beautiful. And this one who's generous enough that she let me take her frogs and pond game to work. And in a terrible work environment, a few people getting together and flipping little plastic frogs into a little plastic pond or drastically missing it is really nourishing.
This is water that would be from our kitchen faucet, because instead of us going places this summer, the whole world came to visit us. So we had family from Indiana, we had friends, longtime friends from China come in, we had a grandson from England, we're having friends from Scotland. It's a great blessing.
This water represents various colleges around the Midwest, as we're having the exciting time of looking at schools for my middle son, and also water from the Dandelion Fountain. What was really nourishing for me this summer was the daily protests with Karen Peck at the Dandelion Fountain in Naperville.
This summer I got to experience a feeling I've never had for myself before. I had extreme personal pride in myself because I too graduated with my PhD.
This water represents times in nature that I had that were really nice. I went to Starved Rock a few times in Zion, Illinois, and it's just really nourishing, and I want to get back into nature again really bad.
This water is from Silver Lake in Blackwell Forest, where I had the best time ever with my grandson. We were kayaking, we had a wonderful picnic, and we played very loud Queen on our way home.
This water is from Russia, and I was going to put a little bit of vodka into it, but I decided not to. And for me, it represents the experience and the validation that across the globe, strangers are good. I went to Russia by myself and wandered the streets. I had a friend who lived there, had a great time, but it validates my truth that people are really good, and if you try and communicate, they will try too. And this congregation validates that for me also.
This water represents a home that Patty and I bought last year in Lisle. It was abandoned after the flood of 2013. The water represents what I hope we don't see too much of as we start a life there when the restoration is complete. And it also represents the amount of water that I have been producing this summer and last summer as I work on the home myself to bring it back to a state of livability.
Ditto.
My name is Marty. I come from Countryside, Illinois. And how I got to this church, you got to thank Pat Carson for that. I did have a Chihuahua. His name was Little Marty, and he depended on H2O, water. By the way, H2O with the molecular weight of 16. I took chemistry. And now, since I'm affiliated with Pat, I have to make sure that Chihuahua, the cat, is taken care of. And her name is Sheba. She doesn't care for me, but she knows that I give her treats. But the water is very important. And again, water is important for everyone. Thank you.
This water represents, if you could bottle perspiration. I spent about a week in St. Louis, and it is very hot and very humid there.
May this water connect us to all the congregations that have been in this place since the beginning of this church. Now Steve will take a portion of our water and nourish Mother Earth by giving some of it to our heart labyrinth. May our gathering and the mingling of our waters be an expression of the many and varied ways we spiritually nourish one another. We each have chosen to be part of this beloved community and recognize the importance of sharing our inner and outer journeys with one another. May this gathering and this mingling be a blessing to this church and to the beginning of our church year. Well, Steve will be back in just a minute, but I don't know how many of you have heard the story that Steve told this morning, the water bearer. Some of you may have heard that before. When Steve told me he was going to do this story, I reflected back on the last time that I heard it, which was at my installation service at People's Church Unitarian Universalist. I'd asked a friend of mine, Reverend Benjamin, to do the charge to the congregation. And he started this charge with the story that you just heard. And then he ended it with, you know, you might have thought that the cracked pot was inefficient and useless, but somehow its flaws turn out to be a blessing in disguise. And he paused, and he said, the members of this church are both those perfect, intact pots, and they're also a bunch of crackpots. Now, after he said that, there was not immediate laughter. So I wondered if this was going to be a problem with my new congregation. And, you know, I was a little concerned about the success of my ministry. I started to sweat just a little bit. And then somebody in the back of the church started laughing, and then everybody started laughing. And so I thought, okay. And he went on. Embracing your cracks can help the ministry of this church thrive. Well, I wonder if he's just digging himself in deeper and deeper there. He said that the congregation needs people who are intact pots to get the work of the church done, to do the necessary tasks like counting the money after the offertory, you know, putting in the announcements in the newsletter, putting out the coffee on Sunday mornings. All the things that need to get done so that the church functions. But then he said the church also needs some crackpots too. For those are the people who question the system, who ask the questions like, why do we do things this way? You know, some of the questions they might ask along that line are, is what we're doing now in our church consistent with our 7 principles? And they might ask that from time to time. We might ignore it, or we might listen. Or they might ask, are we in right relationship with one another? You know, treating each other with respect and kindness. They might also ask questions like, why are we celebrating the flower communion the same way we did last year? Can't we do something new and different this year? Or is there some kind of new ritual we can do that really honors our new members and lets them know that we think that they're special and important? And you might also ask, why don't we have an app for the church so people can donate more money to the church? Actually, he didn't say that one. I don't think they had apps 10 years ago. But I did. I asked that question. That makes me a little bit of a crackpot too. But we need those in this congregation. Now, it might seem that asking these questions is more of a nuisance than anything else. These cracks, these questions open up the opportunity, though, for us to reflect on what we're doing, so that we just don't keep doing the same thing because we've always done the same thing. It's a chance for us to change and ultimately for the church to become a little richer and perhaps a little more interesting. Over time, as we reflect on the cracks, these things in our church can begin to change. And perhaps, not unlike the flowers growing along the path, something beautiful and wonderful and interesting can grow here. We can begin to more consistently live our 7 principles in all that we do in this church and even outside this church. We might come to trust each other more and be willing to be more vulnerable and open with one another about what we really think. We might develop some new and beautiful celebrations or rituals in this church, because these celebrations or rituals are really about this congregation and what is meaningful to them. And who knows? We do all these things, we might even raise more money for the church. My colleague came to the end of his sermon, or charge, I guess. Seemed like a sermon. It was really much longer than I've whittled it down considerably. Was saying something like, your new minister and the ministries of this church need both those of you who are intact pots to get the work of done in the church, and the crackpots in order to ask the question, so we can function and blossom and flourish and grow. So bring all your talents and gifts, all your questions and all your ability to just do the tasks that need to be done. And he said, and so the moral of this story is, by working together, all the people in this congregation, you know, anything is possible. And many beautiful things will blossom because all of you work together. So my friends, I leave you with this morning is we all need to be both intact pots and cracked pots. And if we can do that, if we can ask those questions and share them with the leaders of this church, maybe some wonderful and incredible and beautiful things will begin to happen. I want to leave you with my thanks for all the work that you do here. Your intact pots work, your cracked pots work. I want to thank you for all the work that you do as we bless this new church year and what we will accomplish in the year to come. Amen.
We now take time to care for our house, this place of peace, nature, and humanity. May our offerings join together to become greater than they are alone. Ushers, please come forward to receive this morning's offering.
Now it's time for us to bring the service to a close, extinguish our chalice, and go back out into the world. But let us carry its flame in our hearts, always remembering that we are part of a wonderful, beautiful, beloved community where we can share our lives and our meaningful, nourishing lives with one another. The journeys we have, we share with our words and our deeds. So I invite you now to rise in body or spirit, and let's sing together hymn number 1051 in the Teal hymnal, We Are. Words will be projected to your left. Child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe. We are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe. We are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreams. We are. Closing words are from Unitarian Universalist Reverend McNaughton. I am but a drop of water. Alone I would disappear, dried by the scorching sun or sucked up by the dry, thirsty earth. But together we can wear out stones, carve out the Grand Canyon, make streams and rivers, and find our way to the sea. So my friends, as we go forth today, we go forth to co-create a church year that will nourish all of us and nourish the world. I invite you to turn around and greet one another, especially those you don't know. Let us share our lives with one another.